Hello, Internet, and welcome back to the 2017 Big O Tournament coming out of Eugene, Oregon. My name is Justice Feelgood Marshall here with Ophelia Mellons. Mellons, do you know what today is?
The 6th of May.
That is correct. It is also Derby Day. It is the day the Kentucky Derby is run. And you know what I always say? Who cares? Because we have 3 tracks of road derby happening all throughout this building. It's going to be excellent. Yesterday we saw an incredible game between Victorian and Rose closing out the action. Victoria, number 1 team in the WPA rankings, justifying that ranking with the defeat of the 2-time defending champions, Rose City Rollers. So today in the action behind us on track 1, likely to be particularly interesting. From 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., every game that we have behind us has major rankings implications and playoff implications down the line for both WFPDA and MRDA. So some games and stories we're keeping an eye on today. At 12 noon behind us, we can get a very telling game, I think, between 19 Dos por Cuatros, 2x4 from Argentina, and number 38 Windy City. First meeting for both teams. At the beginning of this year, 2x4 was ranked 40, but they've caught up to number 19 in the most recent rankings release. But the most interesting thing there is that most of those jumps in rankings have come from playing very low-ranked teams who are not in Division II yet. For example, they won their sanction games of the most recent tournament by an average of 290 points, but none of those teams have ever been to playoffs. Yesterday, 2x4 got a big win right here against number 57 Boulder County, 278 to 88, but again, at number 57 Boulder County, below the cutoff for Division II. On the flip side of that, Windy City just had an exceptionally good game against Helsinki, number 16 in the nation. Yesterday, they eventually lost 202 to 142, but stayed with them right till the end. So based on what we've seen so far this year and just yesterday, this could very well be an extremely telling game for both those teams' rankings going on to the playoffs. So Mel's got for the rest of it.
So at 4 o'clock right here on track 1, it's a very exciting Texas versus Minnesota game. Both these teams won high-level games, championship-level games yesterday. Texas fought off a tough challenge of Denver. That was a 195 to 162 final in favor of Texas. And Minnesota kind of rolled over Rat City a little bit by a comfortable margin, 217 to 134. Minnesota definitely comes into this as the underdog. They've never beat Texas, but they've come achingly close. A year and a half ago, when Champs was in Minnesota on their home turf, they had a chance to come back in the last jam, but they just ran out of time. It was a little bit of a heartbreaker. Things to keep an eye on for today, Nikki Tiki Time Bomb. She's really developing into a world-class jammer. She's so fun to watch. And blocker Peace War, who I hope to get a chance to talk to today, better than usual. The bar's pretty high, but she could be a game changer. For Minnesota, the question is, will the Great Wall of St. Paul stand up to Freight Train?
Right.
And they're well known to be able to absorb those hits, but the Train smashes that. So that's going to be a really fun game I'm looking forward to.
The train often keeps on rolling. So other games on track 1 today, Rose versus Denver, number 3 versus number 7. It's particularly interesting because of recent transfers, but they've also got a long history even before that. We've seen Ariel Quigley, the bench coach from Denver, even Scott Paul, moved from Denver to St. Paul. Sarelson started with Denver, went to Rose, now on Victorian. So plenty of interplay between these 2 teams, and we'll hope to get some conversation with them later on and talk about that as well. And of course, 2 times today, a Victorian going up against number 9 arch rival, and at the end of the day, number 5 Angel City. So I was looking at this schedule. If you're Victorian and you're practicing for playoffs or champs, you have the absolute perfect schedule. You play 1 on Friday, 2 one afternoon, and 1 end of the day on Saturday, and their last game is the last game of the day on Sunday. So their scheduling as far as when the games are and who they're playing, absolutely perfect if they're trying to go all the way this year, which I assume they probably are.
Yeah, it's a long game, and with their first game against Arch, Arch is going to bring it, but perhaps we'll see Victoria kind of put it in second gear and focus on that Angel City game tonight. Yeah,
that should be very interesting. Angel City was a big win over Arch rival yesterday. So of the teams remaining for Victorian to play, it definitely looks like this game against Angel City and then tomorrow's game at the end of the day against Texas will be the true test for them again. They got past what looks like the hardest test, the 2-time champions. Finally, last thing I want to mention, game coming up next behind us on track 1 is going to be the New York men's action. New York Shock Exchange versus the Portland or the Bridgetown Menace. So that's Portland's number 3, New York's number 8. Portland, one of the very few men's teams to ever beat New York. I believe their only other losses in New York's are to St. Louis Gatekeepers and your mom. So it's a very, very, very light schedule of teams that have been able to overcome New York, who has been there since the very, very, very beginning of men's derby and is still at the very top of the MRDA, having gone to championships every single year. So, long story short, I think we're gonna have a good time today. I want to actually mention some of these other games on track 2 and track 2 we didn't get to. Number 12, Crime City versus number 21, Terminal City, another international matchup. This will be very interesting to see how that plays out. Of course, this year's one of the playoffs is in Malmo, Sweden, where Crime City is from. This will be particularly interesting. Down the line, the defending MRDA champions, St. Louis up against Puget Sound, a very strong men's team.
That's
in their
always
own
such
right.
an aggressive, fast game.
Yeah, absolutely. And final on track 2, Crime City versus Rat City. Should be very interesting. And the final on track 3, Terminal City versus Windy City. Of course, we mentioned yesterday, Windy City, all of their games against teams from outside the U.S. this year. So it's been this weekend, not this year.
Right.
But 4 games against international teams this weekend, so it's be interesting to watch how they develop through that. So we're going to stop talking at you.
Yeah, well, just a couple of housekeeping things.
Oh, sure.
First of all, thank you to Emerald City Roller Derby for hosting this amazing tournament. It literally takes an army to put on a great event like this. You can watch either on WFTDA.tv, you can go through the Emerald City website, you can go through the YouTube channel to watch streaming, and you can reach us all at #BigO's2017.
Absolutely. So please stick around, enjoy another day of non-stop derby, and we'll be seeing you around.
A clear path through the pack almost never exists. So we fight and make our own.
Welcome to day 2 of the Big O in sunny Eugene, Oregon. You're about to see the Bridgetown Menace take on the New York Shock Exchange. I am the King, and I will be joined with Julia Sleazer. While we've got a few minutes, I want to go ahead and run through these rosters. Julia, who do you got skating for New York?
Today for Shock Exchange, we have 0 Sammy Dangerfield, 1-0 Wolverine, 1-2-5 Malcolm Sex, 1-3-2 Ezra Pound, 1-4 Malin Brando, 1-6-4 Carla Fu, 1983 I Don't Care Bear, 275 I Am Havoc, 35 B Shirts, 42 is their captain Jeffrey, 5 Pablex, 87 Stankus, 9 Kimbo Slice, and 9116 Bill Idrint.
All right, and skating for the Bridgetown Menace, you're going to see 103 Loose Wheel, 11 Sausage Rolls, 12 Tommy Gun, 17 Elysium, 216 Juke Blocks Hero, 31 Ramrod, 357 Demolition Man, 440 Captain Obvious, 512 Cosmo Damage, 56 Jensen, 69 Don Juan, 82 Munster, 85 Shreddy Mercury, and 99 Defensive Destroyer. Both of these teams did play yesterday, and both were successful in pulling off a win.
Yeah, the first one up yesterday was noon. It was New York Shock Exchange versus Chinook City's Glenmore Reservoir Dogs, which was a pretty what do we call that? Blowout. It was a blowout. It was as I recall, 439-36. But you can feel free to correct me if you know. But it was a pretty sizable difference. How did Portland fare yesterday?
Well, Portland Menace played the Vancouver Murder, and it was a sizable lead. I want to say it was roughly around 100 points they beat them by. Vancouver did come out, play very hard, play very well, but unfortunately they could not match the intensity that Bridgetown did bring.
So right now, according to the current MRDA standings, Portland is at number 3. New York Shock Exchange is at number 8. So yesterday, the Glenmore Reservoir Dogs at 16. So it was 8 versus 16, and as we know in MRDA, often is the case, a difference in 5 places even can be very, very, very significant.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this game will be much tighter and much more of a challenge for Shock Exchange to get through. I did notice yesterday, I don't recall Bill being out at all. So bringing out the big guy, right? Not to make you nervous.
No, not at all. Not one iota. Yeah, they. I know last year, fault of Bridgetown. I'm sure that's probably a lingering memory that they are not going to. They're going to probably take it out a little bit today. So I'm actually very excited. So I am Havoc out there on the line, and I believe Topher Griffin's going to join him with the stars on their helmets to get this next jam started, or first jam started. And the whistle has blown. Topher Griffin getting knocked to the outside, is taken out of bounds and drugged back. I am Havoc staying pretty much to the center, trying to ricochet through those purple shirts, but not going anywhere. Real quick, barely making it to the pivot line.
He's having a lot of trouble, as you can see. Havoc is trying to muscle his way up front. There's a little bit of a rough start here for both jammers. I Don't Care Bear knocking Topher into the inside. He's going to be recycled back. He's finding an open lane, but also finding I Don't Care Bear up front with a two-man brace.
Malcolm Sex trying to take Jensen off of his jammer. I am Havoc getting pushed out of bounds. Puts one hand down, and as you know in the game of Derby, you can put a hand down out of bounds, get right back up and come in. Double D did get knocked out, but he jumped right back in there and was able to catch the jammer before he got free.
And this is something that's going to be interesting, as often is the case. New York protects the back of the pack, but we've got Portland also coming in, taking the back of the pack, so it's kind of upsetting the usual what we might see in New York, or we saw very, very often yesterday at the very least.
Well, this is definitely a defensive struggle for both of these teams. I know they're both trying to test the water with the jammers to see what's going to happen. They've only made it to turn number 3, and we are about almost a minute and a half into this, and we do not have a lead jammer yet.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one of those games.
Yeah, at least for a minute, and maybe they'll be able to feel each other out. But right now, yeah, Havoc and Topher are having a great deal of trouble getting through.
Well, you know, sometimes I do like seeing these defensive battles.
Yes.
It really does. It shows the strength of these teams, because these are fantastic jammers
I know
we've got
yeah.
out there. I mean, these are top notch. If you're gonna look at jammers,
Well,
and they're not going anywhere.
I'm absolutely like a single tier for Defensive Destroyer right now, because my lord, that man. I Am Havoc has gotten out, has lead, and I think that may have actually been the natural conclusion.
Yeah.
It
It was a natural conclusion.
was-
He came out and he looked completely winded. Like, oh my gosh, what have I just gone through? Topher never actually made it out of the pack. He only made it back to the jammer line. So he did a full lap.
Yeah, so
Probably the hardest lap of his career.
one lap, lead jammer for about 3 seconds, and then jam's done.
Shreddy Mercury out on the line. Kimbo Slice will be joining him. This jam is on. Kimbo Slice trying to take that outside. Last year's MVP of Chance, Tommy Gunn, managed to hold on to him and knock him out of bounds. Shreddy Mercury comes up strong, wallops somebody, and Topher is out of the pack Shreddy is out of the pack as your lead jammer.
Shreddy coming back in. There's been some penalties called. Looks like 2 New York and 1 Bridgetown sitting in the box right now. So we've got a much smaller pack, maybe a little bit easier to negotiate now.
Yep. Well,
2 in the box.
Shreddy just jumping the apex, takes a whip off of Demolition Man to actually stay composed in bounds. And, man, Shreddy, very dynamic of a skater,
Yeah.
loves to jump that apex. If he sees even the slightest inclination that he can leap that thing, he's going for it.
Right. He certainly got through. He seemed very, very pleased. And it should be, that's the first 9 points. We are in Jam 2. So currently 9-0 in favor of Bridgetown. Of course, Bridgetown is in purple and New York Chalk Exchange is in white.
Newcomer to the Bridgetown Menace is Sausage Rolls, and he's going up against Stankus. Sausage Rolls out front. He is out, and he is your lead jammer.
So about a quarter of the way, maybe behind him. Stankus kind of coming up on. See if Sausage Rolls is going to call it once he gets put through the pack, or if he's going to let it ride. It looks like he's going to let it ride.
Yep. B. Sure has picked up a penalty. It looks like a cut track, and that's going to be the only player right now sitting in that penalty box. Nice hit by Jensen. I don't know how he does it. I think he's made of rubber bands. He whips him out of bounds, and Stankus has to go back and start again.
Got it. I don't care, Bear, and Carl LeFou trying to help him.
Carl LeFou came in with a humongous offensive hit on Double D.
Definitely.
Defensive destroyer, and that's not easy to do. I've hit that man a number of times, and he doesn't move.
Oh, really? Whew. I can't imagine. He's like the sweetest guy, and I'm
yeah.
you scare me to death on the track.
Oh, yeah. Sausage Rolls coming in. He did get knocked out of bounds. Defensive destroyer is going to come in and try to open it up. They're going back and forth. That Purple Jammer is right now locked in behind B. Sure's. Looks like they're hugging each other.
Yeah, I don't know. Got called for that hug. No hugging on the track, guys.
I was a little concerned as to who that was going to be because they were both
right
giving a lot of arm movement.
Right. Kind of locked in an odd embrace.
Stankus out of the pack. He picked up 4 points on that pass.
There's a 4-4 pass there. That was the first 4 for Shock Exchange. A 23-point jam for Bridgetown Menace, bringing us up to 32-4.
I'd like to thank Girls on Track. The Girls on Track want to keep girls in the game by sponsoring junior roller derby programs. Visit the table right here in the venue, or you can also go to girlsontrackfoundation.org.
All right, now we've got Topher Griffin facing off against I Am Havoc. Got a very thick pack. Malcolm Sex kind of taunting Topher one last time. Topher does take to the outside, which is quite open. Gets lead jammer status.
Very, very tight wall, and I Am Havoc trying to fight around Obvious and his beard. He does make it around at the top of that apex. Forearm being picked up on Captain Obvious.
Topher coming through, spinning in the pack, trying to call it off. Gets it called off like maybe half a second later than he probably wanted to.
Yeah, 2 points, though, picked up on that pass for Topher.
Mm-hmm.
And the momentum right now for Bridgetown is looking really good.
Definitely.
I see Shreddy Mercury once again out there going up against Ken Bose, Lice, as your jammers in this next jam. Both these jammers trying to rock back and forth. Ken Bose Lice trying the outside. Big old hit by Elysium, and Defensive Destroyer is there to catch him, and when he comes back in bounds.
It's going to be Kinbo with a no pass, no penalty, so he is out first, does not have lead. That means lead is still open. All you got to do is beep it. Yeah, there we go. Shreddy Mercury not having it.
Well, yeah, he called it off, but unfortunately, that once again, the whistle blew a little bit late. 3 points are picked up by.
Maybe those very short. I've noticed sometimes men like to do the very short call off, the tiny call off, and sometimes it's harder to see, especially if there's people around you. Like
right.
I don't know. I was never fielded as a jammer, unsurprisingly, right? Well, they did, but it was like out of sarcasm.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I ever did get to call a jam, I'd be like, oh my gosh.
Stankus on the line as jammer for New York, Sausage. Tongue twister today. He's out of the pack first, though. Mr. Rolls is on his way around. Stankus still stuck in turn number 1, trying to get around this pack.
The blocks actually are what got Sausage through the pack. He's like, block, 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 and he's like, oh, I'm through, cool.
Sausage Rolls up front. He calls off that jam after navigating through that pack. Nice job. They got everybody separated, and the minutes made it look a lot easier than it really should have been for him to get through all that.
Definitely. Well, swiftly through doesn't necessarily mean it was kind. So. So if you want to join us on social media, our live tweets are at ECRG, so you can follow us, or you can check us out at ECRG_the Big O.
I Am Havoc on the line, going up against Munster. Munster right now trying to push the middle of the pack. Jensen trying to bull his way right through the middle of all that. And I want to say Sammy Dangerfield knocking Topher out and taking him back. B. Sure's doing another nice hit on Topher and bringing him back to where the pivot line is.
You'll always know it's Sammy because of his pants. That's how I know him.
I Am Havoc up against Loose Wheel up front. They are really battling. Jensen does a nice little flip around, ends up catching him, and I Am Havoc on the ground trying to get himself back up.
In the meantime, Topher leaning full force into a 3-wall containing I Don't Care Bear, Ezra Pound, and Sammy Dangerfield. Right now, number 35 for New York Shock Exchange is being sent off. That is Shirts.
Be sure to try to come in and open up some a little hole for his player. Unfortunately, picked up a back block call. I want to say that's his third penalty in this game so far.
Oh, my.
It looks like a cut call, and that's going to be on Topher Griffin. He's looking at his bench saying, what?
Headed with him is Jensen. The lead jammer status awarded to I Am Havoc. Havoc coming at a stood-still pack. His team goes into motion to
Defensive Destroyer is going to be the last line of defense, but if that's going to be your line of defense, it ain't too bad.
Right?
Yeah, I Am Havoc says, okay, that's it. Four points are picked up. I'm calling it off.
Shock Exchange essentially went into motion to try to get DD out of the way. So a 4-point jam brings Shock Exchange up to 11. Bridgestone still sits at 38.
I'd like to thank Castle Megastore. They've got a little booth set up here, and they're giving away adult crowns. You got to be here to see it.
They're pretty good. So we got Kimbo Slice facing off against Topher. Topher currently standing in the box. Kimbo has lead jammer status. Topher is coming back into play just now. The Shock Exchange ready for his re-entry. Malcolm really working it, trying to keep in front of him.
Demolition Man had a good heads up. Kimbo Slice was coming around. Him and Tommy Gunn locked eyes. He called it out, and now they've actually got him locked at the top of the apex. Topher Griffin on his toe stops, trying to work his way around the top up here, still locked in, and ricocheting off of all of those New York shirts. We've got two people up front trying to play offense for Bridgetown, and Topher still having a hard time get out.
Jensen just did a huge hit on Kimbo there, taking him out to the outside. He'd already taken him into the inside. He's going to do it again. He got that toe stop over the line. He's going to have to come back in. So Jensen's really currently in control of the jammer situation.
It's kind of like a Gumby Matrix move, you know? He whoop, goes C-shaped the wrong way and then comes back up like it ain't no big deal.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how it... Certainly my fat butt can't do that, so I don't know how he does it. I would love to know what yoga practice he does. Out on the line next, we're going to see Shreddy Mercury going up against Stankus. Both teams are going to start with a blocker in the penalty box, so it'll be a 3-on-3 in the blocker war. Elysium taking out Stankus and taking him back. They have a nice opportunity to reform here. New York having a great time shutting down Shreddy Mercury. He is getting all the offense, and they are recycling through all of it and continuing to stay in front of him. Stankus is out, and he is your lead jammer. Back around, already picking up a few points, trying to take that inside line, but Defensive Destroyer jumps in there and shuts him down for a second.
Stankus taking a hit coming up. Getting past that last swipe, Defensive Destroyer attempts 5 points on this pass for New York Shock Exchange.
Ramrod out there. He picked up a penalty. He will spend 30 seconds in the penalty box. Shreddy Mercury bouncing off I Don't Care Bear, saying, I need to go this way. You need to move. He picks up, a mystery points. No points actually scored. It was on his initial pass. And 4 points being picked up for Shock Exchange. I'd like to thank Finger Dukes. They are also right here in the venue, and they've got some fantastic stuff. You should check them out. They are Finger Dukes.
They have amazing artwork, by the way.
Wasn't quite sure how to describe it, so.
It's original artwork.
Yeah.
I got some amazing shirts from them last year.
Yeah. And just like that, Sarge Rolls is out as your lead jammer. Bob Lex, he stepped out of bounds, and he got a cut call.
Yeah, I was like, that's most certainly a cut call. He stepped out of bounds and stepped right in front of the entire pack.
Well, it took about 3 refs to figure that one out.
Well, the one ref was hanging out back here, and he was like, no!
Yep, it takes a community.
You got it. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things happening on the track, and everybody sees something different.
Takes a village to raise a penalty.
That's why we have all these refs.
It's true.
Sausage rolls. Nice little spin move. He's around and out, picking up 5 points on his power jam. Sausage rolls got a little bit of offensive help, but it was more or less like a fake out, and he just glided through everybody like a line drill.
Through is Publix on his having completed his initial. I'm sorry. Will be entering on a scoring pass, only theoretically. Sausage rolls, calling it off after a 19-point jam. Nothing picked up that time by Shock Exchange, 57-25. We've got just under 15 minutes left in this half.
Well, we saw that first jam then where they didn't have a lead jammer until about 5 seconds left in the 2-minute jam.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, and since then, I think they all woke up, the coffee kicked in, and we've seen lots of penalties, lots more action, lots more offense. Don Juan is out there for Bridgetown Menace as a jammer, first time today. Don Juan using his toe stops. And he picks up a cut. He's going to take the long way home. Nope, he realized it and changed his mind and came back.
Still trying to get through. Havoc does manage to get in front of Defensive Destroyer, which is always a good one. Does take one last hit. He is through. Lead jammer status is awarded to Shock Exchange. He's going to be coming up in his first scoring pass in about half a lap.
Shock Exchange looks like they're eyeballing a fresh piece of steak fresh off the grill as they're looking at all those purple shirts, and their offense is ready to roll.
Yep. I like the setup and then the actual attack.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ooh, what will they do this time?
Yep. Well, they've got Jensen in the back, so they've got their goat. They're having to bridge out. There's 2 blockers up front. Loose Wheel doing a nice job sticking with that jammer.
There's Loose Wheel and Elysium both holding on tight. And Jensen standing on the side, waiting just in case. And now we've got the 4 wall of Bridgetown.
Carl LeFou came in there and tried to test the waters with his offense. He's coming back again, tried to make a nice little hit. He actually got Defensive Destroyer off that line, but nice recycling by Bridgetown to cover that line and keep that jammer in.
So being sent off to the box is number 103, Loose Wheel.
Loose Wheel.
He's going to take down the defense. I mean, something of course you can do when you've got the force square or the Triforce or anything like that is you can pop up in the middle. Now you're surrounded by potential multiplayer blocks that pretty much have to let go, and I think that's what New York was trying to do a second ago.
Jensen picked up a blocking with the head penalty. Looks like time came to an end, and 4 points were picked up for New York. Very hard-fought points, but 4 points nonetheless.
Yeah.
They did a nice job holding New York, did a nice job holding Don Juan in, and I think they've also woken up their defense after a little flurry of points by Bridgetown. They've started to get tighter and hold that jammer in there, continuing to keep a body in front of them at all times.
It takes a couple jams to feel each other out, especially if we haven't seen each other since October.
Giggity.
What? There's going to be Kimbo Slice out front, a New York Shock Exchange lead jammer.
Loose Wheel has been came out of the penalty box. He was instantly targeted as the GOAT. They've knocked him out of bounds and are dragging him back. Kimbo Slice, what a great move on the outside. And granted, it was depleted, but man, 5 quick, easy, efficient points picked up, and this jam comes to an end.
Team timeout being called by the Bridgetown Menace.
Well, they've been held scoreless a couple jams, and it's a good opportunity for them to kind of regroup, talk about some things, make sure you've got a good plan to move forward with.
Definitely.
Or they could also be talking about what they're going to do for lunch, maybe where they're going to go for the after party.
There's too many parties last night. There's there was an after party before the tournament started. I don't know how that even works out. I'm
Well,
fine with it. I'm
it's
fine with
roller
it.
derby, you
I
know.
know it. I'm totally cool with it. But so we would like to thank Left Turn Clothing, uniforms that move with you.
Oh, yeah, left turn. Yeah, turn left for what?
Derby. I refuse to get pop culture references in person or on mic. So
It was just one of my favorite brands or logos that they came out with on one of their shirts. I
Awesome.
saw that and instantly fell in love with it. But you know, they've actually got some fantastic clothes at Left Turn. They are
yeah,
really, they've got some great patterns and they are quite comfortable.
I feel like I have asked people who their uniform is this weekend just out of curiosity, and I haven't had anybody answer otherwise. So
Don Juan starting in the penalty box. He was released, found an open line, surprised
Wow.
everybody. He's out as your lead jammer.
left that inside lane wide open.
I think everybody was like, wait, where did he just come from?
Hold up.
Don Juan taking the inside line, and now he decides to go outside. I could have told everybody that's where he's going. Don Juan always goes to the outside at the apex.
Wow. Well, okay.
That was quick.
That was right on. Yeah, I
Wow.
was just like, open inside, open outside, and he's like, well, I'll be on my way.
I'll take my points and go home.
So it looks like we're going to maybe have a little refrain from these big 15-point jams and maybe go back to some 4 and 5s.
Yep, just a nice little whittle job. Just ching, ching, ching. There we go. Couple points here, couple points there.
I'm fine with that.
Topher Griffin out there as your jammer for Bridgetown. I think I Am Havoc is in the middle of all those people, and yep, I believe I just saw him pop out for a quick second on that inside line.
And we got
Topher
Malcolm.
Griffin getting kicked out of bounds and taken back to almost the jammer line. He tries to come in very hard, and they are there to meet him and rock him back. I Am Havoc has made it to turn number 1. He's trying to get past Demolition Man, Tommy Gunn, and I believe Sausage rolls out there with a pivot cap on.
Mm-hmm. Havoc has star in hand, but it's not necessarily meant for passing. He might just be, just got a little too hot. How's that?
Cosmo knocking him out briefly. I Am Havoc stops. They didn't move. One of the things I'm liking is they're not running back.
Right.
One of the things that always bothers me is a lot of these blockers will run back that jammer.
Mm-hmm.
The jammer comes in and then runs past everybody.
Right.
Now, knocking him out, resetting real quick, getting a good solid wall out there, and then making that jammer continue to fight through it.
Yeah.
I think that's a way more efficient way of playing your defense.
Well, it's two very different defensive strategies, and I suppose one might work with one team and the other might work with another team, but we're certainly seeing a lot more tightness and a lot less of the, let's see how far we can recycle in this game.
I think it has to do with how quickly you can reform as
Yeah.
a defensive group. I mean, if you can actually get back together that quick,
Right.
and communicate that well, awesome. Make it happen. Run that guy back 20 feet. I'm all for it.
Sure.
But you know what? A lot of times it's just easier to knock him out, maybe take a one step back so they have to reset themselves and then form a solid wall. Just smart, easy derby.
Yeah.
Shreddy Mercury out there for Bridgetown. Kinbo Slice out there for New York. Both of these jammers are trying to rock their way through. Loose Wheel was up front trying to play a little bit of offense. Slight pack advantage favoring Bridgetown Minutes. They've got all 4 of their blockers out there.
There's Malcolm Sex is in the box, but Sure as I Don't Care Bear and Sammy are doing a pretty good job of holding up the front.
Yeah, New York has definitely got a really well-oiled machine when it comes to defense.
Mm-hmm. And back to join his blockers, Malcolm Sex, setting up for Shreddy's coming in.
A forearm call. Kinbo Slice got a forearm call a lap ago, and he took off, and as soon as he saw the light of day, he went running. So, yeah, I'm wondering, are they going to assess him a...
In-sub.
Yeah, I think
The old
they are.
insubordination. Well, they are having a word with him. Let's see if they got the tap too.
Huh.
I'm seeing Oos is heading this one up. Don't see where he went, though.
Well, I think I almost missed that penalty. I thought maybe I heard the whistle blow, but
You said it, and then I saw it, and I was
Yeah.
like, did you notice it before the refs?
Either way,
Yeah.
looks like Sausage Rolls out here on the line. He is trying to run through. He's already in turn number 2. They push this pack up. Bridgetown was going to let him play.
I suppose we'll know if he has 2 penalties if he doesn't get out of the box anytime soon. All right, it's going to be Sausage Rolls through the pack. Lead jammer status. Kimbo is standing in the box, so it was just the single penalty. Perhaps he was given the benefit of the doubt.
Well, Luce came out of that penalty box. He ran square into the middle of all those New York blockers, and Sausage Rolls got around on the outside.
Meantime, Kimbo facing off against the defensive techniques of Portland.
Juke Blocks took a big swing at Kinbo Slice, and actually Kinbo Slice stayed in bounds. He went back again and hit him a little harder.
All right.
Finally took him out.
Man, Cosmo is really tearing it up right now. Sausage Rolls did get knocked into the inside. He's going to have to come back. New York was just about set up in their general guarding the back triangle, but he did bust it up.
Yeah.
He's like
Well, we got a star pass. Mm-hmm. I do believe that is Malcolm Sex who just got the star, and
I just signaled because I was talking about this. Malcolm jammed a couple of times yesterday, and it's, I think my favorite jammers are the ones that just kind of mow through the pack. They're like, and that's how Malcolm is because he's actually, I don't know if you've ever stood next to him, he's 17 foot tall. So he's the tallest human on the planet. And also plays roller derby, which is weird, right?
All right.
Yeah.
And he mows through the pack, making that mowing sound.
Yeah. Well, I assume he does.
If you could do that every time he gets the star and mows through the pack, I would love to hear that every time. That's my new favorite sound today. Topher Griffin is your jammer out there for Bridgetown. Stankus out there for New York. Topher Griffin's made it to turn number 1, getting to the top of the apex. He's got 2 blockers left to beat, and he has finally willed his way through as your lead jammer.
I don't care, Bear. Momentarily, a bridge goes back to his defensive stance.
Stankus has got 2 players left to beat. He was doing a great job, and then he ended up taking a knee, and then it gave an opportunity for Bridgetown to reset. Elysium came up and just bulldozed him right out of bounds in turn 2.
Just takes a second. Not even a second. It takes a tap of the knee to the floor, and it's like, boop, that's lost.
Maybe it's a New York minute? No, I don't know.
Blah. Not here to get analogies, sir.
Everybody just groaned. It's okay. I understand. That's what happens when you have kids. Dad jokes come. Stankus really struggling against that wall right now. He's eking him forward ever so slightly. Up in front, Topher Griffin having the exact same issue. Offense finally came in the way of, I believe, was that 56 that just did that? Anyways, they opened it up a little bit. Topher Griffin never actually got out very far, but he did pick up 5 points.
I don't care about taking, I guess, one last hit on Schurz. It's fine if you do it to your own guys, right?
Right.
Just making sure he's awake. It's all good.
Carl LeFou on the line. First time today, I believe, going up against Shreddy Mercury.
Yeah, Carl has been blocking in normal rotation. Now taking the jammer line. Let's see what he's going to do. Well, first he's going to get knocked out to the outside. He's going to be recycled back. In the meantime, Shreddy is not able to. Oh, here we go. He's pushing up towards the front. Then he's met with a 3-wall.
Well, there was a little bit of offense from Juke Blocks that came in, and they did a good job of rocking everybody around and just kind of gave him that movement to get him out.
Right.
They ended up pushing him out of play, and it got Shreddy free.
Yeah, I didn't mean to make that not sound great, but my words weren't fast enough. There has been a star pass. It is now Wolverine wielding the star for Shock Exchange. He's going to go ahead and drop it. I think something was amiss. Dell is telling him something. And it looked like a misconduct.
I was trying to follow the ref, but unfortunately...
Well, he didn't go across his chest, but I want to say... Well, I didn't see a low block, and I didn't quite see all of Dell's hand. So he's in the box. The star's just on the ground. It can be retrieved by Carl yet. Were he not in the box as well? So that star's just going to be lonely for
Yep.
a minute.
They're going to leave that star right there.
Lonely star.
Shreddy Mercury muscled his way through, picked up 5 points, finally said, I am going to call this off and get some fresh wheels out there.
Yeah, you're going to have to... He's sitting in the box as Jammer. He needs to go ahead and get his star back, but it looked like the coach was reluctant to touch.
Moda Skates. For every skater, by skaters. That's what Moda Skates does. And this, everybody tried to take off running. Malcolm Sex getting taken out, and they've got a goat in the back.
Woof. Yeah, it's Malcolm Sex as your goat, my word. So, zooming in, Sausage rolls, disrupts the concentration for just a second, and now New York is back to the back.
Yeah, they did a nice job reforming there, too. They strung him back, but a little bit of offense came from Captain Obvious, and on the turn number 2, Sausage Rolls is out and picks up 5 points.
So Carlavu is through, having completed his initial hit. Started this jam in the box, as you may recall.
4 more points are picked up on that pass for Bridgetown, and we want an official review from Bridgetown.
So we are pausing for this official review at 1:11:34, unless the official review regards.
And it looks like there's about a minute left in this half. That's a good time for everybody to pause, chill.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, unless this is something to do with the score, that's where we're going to probably sit. We've got time enough for one more jam.
And it's time enough for me to talk about Wicked Skatewear. Wicked Skatewear is a skater-owned and operated, and they are basically mechanics that have been around since 2007. So check them out at Wicked Skatewear.
10 years. So what year is Bridgetown on, out of curiosity? Do you remember?
What year?
I feel like everybody's celebrating a 10 years anniversary this year, and I
want to say 2009, if my foggy brain, or 2010.
I didn't mean to put you on.
Oh my goodness!
I put you on. Now I'll look it up.
Back in
I'm
the
sorry.
day.
Back when I was a kid, we didn't even have bridges. We had to build them.
1973, we had
They were just called the Town Menace.
we had metal wheels, and they were square.
I actually did have metal wheeled. No, my grandmother gave me. They were outdoor derby skates when I was a kid. I'm only 34, you guys.
I know.
Okay, I'm not actually an old person like yourself.
I know. No. I want to say it was in 2010, if my memory now is been jogged. Bridgetown used to be formerly Portland Men's Roller Derby. Nice basic name. Later we renamed it to Bridgetown.
I see that they've got it's 2011 that they got their affiliation. I don't see
Yes.
Flat Track Stats is not telling me when they
Yep.
actually began.
Matter of fact, we played Puget to finally get our games that we needed to get into the MRDA.
Oh, I got you.
That was a really fun game.
Yay.
I played in it.
Aw.
Dun, 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 dun.
300 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, as I recall, New York is actually celebrating their 10 years. Jonathan are still at home. Hello, Jonathan. They are using the chant from first season that Jonathan taught them as they start off each half.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's great.
All right, this official review is over and done with. Munster is out on the track going up against I Am Havoc. Munster found an open lane somehow on that outside and is out as your lead jammer.
Havoc taking a spill to the outside. He's going to come back behind.
Munster worked his way back around. He's being met with heavy, heavy defense. Demolition Man Kaiser tries to come in and blow it up, and all that happened is they knocked Topher out of bounds, and he's got to go back and start again.
Havoc takes off that star again. He dropped it for just a second. Didn't give anybody the opportunity to stand above it, which is like the saddest moment in all of Derby.
I Am Havoc having to try and fight through Cosmo's armpit, place nobody ever wants to be. This jam comes to an end. No points scored by I Am Havoc.
Unless somebody takes a timeout, and looks like they will. That's going to give us time for one more jam. So right now, Bridgetown sitting at 116, York Shock Exchange at 34. I did hear a timeout, yeah. Jeez. I feel like I did. Well, they're still standing there. I don't see the blinking, so I can't say who.
Yeah,
who's,
no, the
who's
timekeeper
involved.
on the track, she's trying to get the clock readjusted, but they are definitely taking a timeout with 9 seconds left on the board in this half. I do see that Shreddy Mercury is going to be out there if my eyes are true. Yes, it is.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks like well, now I'm like I feel terrible for putting you on the spot. So now I'm like, oh, let's check flat track stats in the first bout of record for Bridgetown. Doesn't mean their first bout, but
Oh,
their first bout of record is 2010.
Yep.
So
it should have been, I believe, against Eugene.
Yes. Lane
And I
County
think
concussion.
we got handed our tails pretty heavily. And then the next time we played them, we ended up pulling off a win at the very end of the game
by 2 points.
by 2 points.
Yeah.
Wow, you are, man.
No, I'm looking right at it.
Oh, okay. Well, I see. Okay.
Yeah, people actually think I'm really smart. I'm just faster at Googling.
Yeah.
But true facts, no, you have a good memory. I can't often remember where my keys are. This morning was just like, where are my pants? Did I bring pants? I feel like I was wearing some yesterday, but jeez.
Julia, I wanted to talk to you about your attire today.
Tomorrow, the announcers were supposed to have themes. We both refused to do today's, which was bow ties.
Oh.
Tomorrow is no pants day, though.
No pants day.
I didn't even make that one. That's a real one.
My son's a big bow tie guy.
Is he?
He's got a bunch of bow ties.
I just think it makes with I think it's my face shape, and I like to wear ties. I'm not a bow tie person, so.
I like to be shiny. That's
You're very sparkly. It's like I've been watching it reflect off your face. He's got like a gold sequin jacket, and I feel so plain. I'm just like, I wore a t-shirt. It's clean. Jealous. So I feel like this is
and the extended Euro remix of A Timeout.
right. Yeah, this is actually Jeez, who's on the left? I can't see the scoreboard, and ours doesn't blink right in front of us. Our flat track stats doesn't blink first. It's
We're 3 minutes into a timeout right
Shock
now.
Exchange has an official review.
Okay.
Is what's happening. And they're not just like, you know what? I'm giving them a 9-minute timeout. They're actually having to discuss. Because I was like, are we on an official timeout right now? They're discussing pizza toppings? What's happening here? So, Sir Os is coming in to talk to the Zeebs. I'm afraid, often is the case, I feel like on this track, I don't get the information from the alt.
Right. Well, it looks like everybody is going back to their positions. B. Schurz is out there for New York Shock Exchange as your jammer. Shreddy Mercury out there as your jammer for Bridgetown Menace. Tommy Gunn is the only player in the penalty box for Bridgetown Menace, so there's a pack advantage right now for New York. I don't care, Bear trying to play some offense. Had to switch to defense. Shreddy Mercury hurdled everybody and picked up a track cut, and he will spend some time in the penalty box.
All right. Well, Schurz is more interested in just calling it off. He's good.
Yeah.
He's
well,
good.
That's going to give them a really good place to start in the second half. Shreddy Mercury will start there. And so, everybody at home, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be in the world. Grab yourself an ice cold beverage and something to eat. We've got a great game going right here, and I do not expect New York to sit back and let Bridgetown continue at this pace. So get ready for the second half. All right, folks, we are right now at halftime with the Bridgetown Menace New York Shock Exchange. I wanted to go through a little bit of the stats. For Bridgetown, Sausage Rolls at 67 points. Shreddy Mercury at 19. Topher Griffin at 25. Loose Wheel sitting on 4 penalties. And everybody else has got about 2. For the New York Shock Exchange, let me see. Stankus has 13 points. Kinbo Slice with 13 points. Carl LeFou with 5 penalties. B. Schurz with 4 penalties. Poblex with 3. So far, it's been a pretty heavy-duty game. Bridgetown Menace sitting at 116 and 34 for the New York Shock Exchange. The New York Shock Exchange will come out and start in a power jam to get this next half started. I also want to give a big shout-out to the Austin Anarchy fans down there. I got a text from you guys. Spank, Nino, Muffin, welcome, and thanks for watching.
Need to give a shout out to Champ Unkind. He's also said hello, and he also told me that clearly Bow Tie Day is Champ Unkind Appreciation Day. And that's who I actually think of when I think of bow ties. Him and Statman, both the bow tie wearing men in my lives. In my life, I only have the one. I'm not a necromancer. I don't know where you heard any of that. Good day.
Well, they will start on a light. Bridgetown Menace will start with a slightly lighter pack. There's only 3 blockers out there. The offense is coming from New York, and they are mixing it up. Looks like a cut track is going to be called on Malcolm Sex. Kinbo Sly is still trying to get out of that pack.
Shreddy is still sitting in the box, now standing. Going to re-enter play in about 7 seconds. So Kinbo has short time to take advantage of this.
Yeah, Bridgetown Menace working on a penalty kill right now, and they have successfully pulled off that 30-second penalty kill. Tommy Gun dropped back. He's trying to give a little offensive love, and it looks like Shreddy Mercury has gotten out.
Yep.
And Kinbo Slice also got out. Photo finish time there. Kinbo Slice is your lead jammer.
Shreddy is a little bit ahead. Let's see what decision Kinbo wants to make. It closes in. Oh, he's going to call it. All right. So I believe, it is a 2-2. I thought maybe it was going to be a 2-0, just perfectly timed. 2-2, still fine. I'm fine with this. It's a 2-2.
It's a 2-2. Okay. I've learned all kinds of fun things about Julius Leader
It's just
today.
exactly, it's like the 2-2 I'm wearing right now.
Well, we talked about the No Pants Day, so, for those of you watching at home, you're welcome to join.
Yeah. I hope you're not wearing pants. You don't pay rent to wear clothes, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. This next jam is on, and Topher Griffin is trying to shrug bodies off. As he does that, he does clear the pack on the inside line. He's your lead jammer.
Man, Havoc trying to swim his way through, not quite capable of doing it. He's facing off against Jensen.
Jensen is just ridiculous.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, he's like, boom, 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 with this chest, and I'm like, how are you doing this?
And he did pick up a penalty. He's exiting the track, and he will spend 30 seconds of his life in the penalty box. Topher is back around. He's been knocked out of bounds, and he's having to start behind. That's number 42, Jeffrey.
So a high block has been called on Elysium. Just as that jam comes to a close, 0 points picked up by Shock Exchange.
And on that last, no points.
I can't. It looks like the deliberation between Osas, and there we go.
There we go.
3 points to Bridgetown. Why is our score stopped happening in front of us? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Something moved down.
Yeah.
Unless I'm just imagining that.
No, they should.
I'm not used to this screen
They
on
did shake it up a little bit.
the Ringster.
Well, they're giving us something new to look at. That is going to be Sammy Dangerfield running and moving in the background there. He is out. He's your lead jammer.
It's giving the Jonathan R thumbs up.
Oh, yeah. And why not?
Respect.
He is through, and Sammy Dangerfield very passionately calls off that jam, and thumbs up alls around for them 4 points in the air. I want to thank S1 Helmets. durable, functional, stable. The S1 Pro knee pads are also built for roller derby. Shreddy Mercury's out there going up against Stankus. Shreddy Mercury's trying to take an entire wall and move it one way, and it's just not moving for him. Stankus up front. He's only got 2 blockers to beat.
Woof.
Somehow Jensen takes him out of bounds, and they're taking him back to the jammer line.
Oh, he's only got 2 blockers to beat. It's just Defensive Destroyer and Jensen. Surely you can just swipe on past that.
Everybody. All right.
Elysium has now joined in, so there's a trifecta to get past for Stankus. In the meantime, Carl LeFou heads up Malcolm Sex and Wolverine.
Shreddy Mercury was directing traffic down there, looked at Austin, and said, hey, you need to hit this pack right here. And sure enough, it worked for him.
Defensive Destroyer signaling to where he will be taking Stengus. It will be here.
Come down here.
Jensen, good sir.
5 more points being picked up by Shreddy Mercury. Shreddy Mercury moves in and gives a little love tap on the outside. Stankus now behind Loose Wheel. Got the cap in hand. Almost looks like they're going to do a star pass. And yes, they did.
There we go.
Wolverine has that star now.
Portland bench yelling for the call. Shreddy gets the signal. Does call it off before Wolverine makes it to the back of the pack.
I didn't realize Tarantula could be so loud. I mean, I think people in the parking lot could have heard her yelling about calling it.
So it's a 9-point jam for the Bridgetown Menace. 130 to Shock Exchange 40.
We're going to see Munster once again out there going up against Kinbo Slice.
It's the artist formerly known as Munster. Topher, which is my favorite way to shorten Christopher. I love it. I heard it a couple years ago. It's like my favorite ever. And he's going to make it through. One last bump. It's that bump. Got him through.
B. Schurz had a fantastic hit, and most normal humans would have went flailing out of bounds. And somehow Topher Griffin stayed in bounds because he's magical.
So I think you keep insinuating that perhaps you have some X-Men or something on your team. And frankly, I might call for like DNA testing if it's going to be like this. We need to talk about Jensen. We need to talk about Munster.
Yep, Kinbo Slice stuck in the back of a very, very strong purple wall. B. Schurz is coming back trying to open something up. Juke Blocks would say, no, you go back up there.
Topher's leaning. You got Sammy Dangerfield holding on to Mullen and I Don't Care Bear.
Yep,
and just leaning full force for quite some time.
I Don't Care Bear took him out of bounds, and they did drag him back. Kinbo Slice, still with the star in his hands, had to contend with Demolition Man, Tommy Gunn, and Cosmo Damage, which is about as fun of a Saturday morning you can imagine.
I'm sure it's a good time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're into that.
Finally, we got a jammer out of the box. That is B. Schurz. He is working his way back around, but Topher calls this off.
10-point jam, 140 to 40. Math we can all do, but I refuse to.
Wait, is that 100 points?
You tell me. Oh, no, it changed. It changed. 142 to 40.
Well,
I swear every time I say the score, they're like, all right.
Yeah, they just want to prove you wrong.
Yeah, don't put all the points up just yet. Sleazy's about to talk.
Pob Lex, number 5 out there for New York Shock Exchange. Sassarge Rolls out there, number 11 for Bridgetown Menace. Sassarge Rolls really working that outside. He really wants to get around there. Pablo X got around on the outside. Nice little juke move. Holy smokes. I got juked out of my shorts and I wasn't even on the track.
Woo! Sassarge taking some huge hits from Carl LeFou. Oh, my word. Okay, Poblex coming into the pack, and then everything kind of...
He got kicked in the head. He got body slammed.
Just testing the gravity, seeing how the gravity works in
and
here.
he just got...
Oh, they both got...
Yeah.
No, sorry. One's being recycled back because I was like, they both headed to the box? What just happened?
I think it was a low block, but he was pretty much laid out, and he got the... That's like the worst part is you get all this punishment, and then you get the penalty.
Yeah.
Poblex, he has been taken out of bounds once again. He's really trying to get past that wall. They're going to New York Shock Exchange willing to let him do the work. They've got Obvious in the back. They're going to try and get that goat. Obvious now is going to...
Woo! Publix just laid Jensen down. He's going to be sent off for a forearms call. So just as Sassarge comes out of the box, Publix has a seat. So only one jammer in play. We're going to take the full 2 minutes. We've only got just over half a minute left.
Sassarge rolls, getting very low, taking a lot of hits, and he stays in bounds.
He's now finished his initial. He has plenty of time to come in and attempt to score. New York setting up for his arrival.
That was something new from Captain Obvious. He was in the very back of that sausage line, and he went running up and basically hit the outside guy while everybody swept from the inside. Very interesting.
Publix now back in play.
Sassarge rolls up. He's only got 2 blockers left to beat. Got knocked out of bounds. This jam comes to an end. 5 points picked up by Bridgetown.
I thought... I guess I missaw that. I thought Sassarge was being called off right at the end of the jam. But my mistake. No. Lies. Jensen is being called off, though. Having a seat in the box. What you got?
Hit this Derby gear. Derby owned and operated. Before you hit the track, hit this. Visit the store in Salem, Oregon, or online at hitthisderbygear.com.
Sammy Dangerfield taking the line for Shock Exchange. Shreddy Mercury for Bridgetown Menace. Shreddy is going to take lead jammer status.
I don't care, Bear. Looks like he got a hit to the head. He's been reeled back. Shreddy Mercury took advantage of it. He went around the outside, and he is out of that pack. 5 points on the board for Bridgetown. Sammy Dangerfield, he's got the star. He's trying to fight his way through. Shreddy Mercury getting taken out of bounds with a nice big hit. No point score for Bridgetown, but no point score for New York Shock Exchange.
Oh, it's actually... Well, our scoreboard says something different than that scoreboard. That scoreboard says that Bridgetown had a 5-point jam. I don't know who to believe anymore. Long sigh.
The cake is a lie.
It is. Don't accept it.
Munster and I Am Havoc are your jammers in this next jam. Munster tiptoeing through the tulips on that inside line. He's your lead jammer. I Am Havoc has got, looks like every skater on the track that's still trying to fight through.
Ooh, defensive destroyer and loose wheel up front. Joined by Jensen, giving Havoc the what for.
Munster getting taken out of bounds in turn number 1. He tries to step in bounds, and they do drag him back past the pivot line. He's now got a lot of players to try and fight through. I Am Havoc was almost about ready to hit the pack. Quickly, they call it off. Bridgetown picks up 3 points. Nothing again for New York Shock Exchange.
Bridgetown at 160. Shock Exchange at 45. Just over 18 minutes left in the game.
Sassarge rolls and Poblex are going to be your jammers in this next jam. 4-on-4 in the blocking war. No one is in the penalty box. Sassarge rolls, tries to work the outside, tries to work the inside. It opened up for a second. Be Sure's, holy smokes, when two atoms collide, an explosion happens. Be Sure's did not benefit from that, though.
Absolutely not.
I Don't Care Bear is going to have a seat in the penalty box. Jukes Blocks trying to play a little bit of offense. Whittles it down. Sassarge rolls, does weave his way through and pick up 5 points.
Publix taking a big hit from Demolition Man. He's got his helmet cover off, but he's past his pivot, so I don't think it's necessarily
Sassarge
sold.
rolls another 5 points.
Now, there has been the star pass. It was a very sneaky one. So Schurz is currently jammer for Shock Exchange coming in. Did he score? No.
He hit the nitro, and he just
Right.
basically went flying.
Yes.
Did a nice little fake out, and I think he made about 30, 40 feet in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Don Juan, second time out on the track. Sammy Dangerfield, I think that is also his second jam, as starting as a jammer would be a better way of saying that. Don Juan taking a lot of hits, does get kicked out of bounds, has not made it past the jammer line yet. Sammy Dangerfield, does get taken out on the inside line. Now tries to work that outside, gets knocked out. Offense coming on both sides. Don Juan being knocked down in turn number 1.
Carl LeFou and Marlon Brando up front, keeping Don Juan at bay.
Carl LeFou trying to take him. Don Juan does his little flipperoo move on the top of the apex, and he is out as your lead jammer.
Defensive Destroyer trying to break up Shock Exchange's welcoming crew. Malcolm Sex. Oh, well, actually, I guess all 4 of them in the back. Kimbo Slice, Malcolm Sex, Marlon Brando, and Carl LeFou all braced up. Don Juan is done with that business.
Sammy
2
Dangerfield,
points.
Sammy Dangerfield got out. He was working his way around. He did pick up those 2 points, and that's at this point that's what you want to do. Just pick up a couple points, hold them scoreless. Shreddy Mercury out there for Bridgetown Menace. Stankus for New York Shock Exchange. Shreddy Mercury actually moving this entire pack forward. They're now past the pivot line. Jukebox jumping up to Bridge. Now he's got a little breathing room. He comes in and a swing and a miss.
Shreddy still working out. He's going to probably get an out-of-play warning called on these Shock Exchange lads.
Belligerent picked up a direction of play penalty, and there's only 2 blockers out there right now for New York.
So need to hang on to these 2 blockers. Shirts does accept a star pass, so he is the jammer for Shock Exchange currently. Meantime, Shreddy going to call that off after picking up 4 points.
Falling Sky Brewery, happiness all night for roller derby. $1 off house beers, $2 off for snacks. Just say the word derby at Falling Sky Brewery.
Topher Griffin, a.k.a. Munster, out against Poblex. Both of them swarming Poblex and almost immediately star pass, which no lead has been awarded, so that takes Shock Exchange out of the running for lead. Kimbo Slice accepts. Has not put it on yet.
Topher Griffin getting taken out on the inside line. He's still trying to fight his way through. They got everybody right here. Jukebox comes out of the penalty box, comes right in and starts hitting blockers from New York. Poblex getting leveled out there. Topher Griffin saw that he got taken out, and he decides to keep right on going.
Low block, misconduct being assessed to Kimbo Slice. He's going to have a seat in the box. He does have Jammer Panty in hand, so he will be sitting as the jammer. Poblex, former jammer, will have a seat next to him.
They can talk about jammer things.
They got jammer business to discuss.
Topher Griffin coming back around. He's only got the 2 blockers up front. They've got the goat in the back. Out of play. Nope, not quite. He does get knocked out of bounds, and they're going to bring him back to the pack.
Portland's bench again asking for the call. Jammer agreeing, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
You listen to your coach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, especially if you can hear her. My gosh. She's so loud. I'm a little bit jealous. I feel like I used to be able to yell like super loud, and I've kind of lost it over the years. And it's, I guess, I'm sad because I'm not louder. There's other things I could be sad about, but
That's true.
yeah, that's been bugging me. Glad I got that off my chest.
It looks like an official review coming in the way I think New York is asking for this official review.
Yeah, it is the Shock Exchange. So we do have MVP bouts coming up on Sunday. So what happens is we're going to have whoever's from Team USA men's and Team USA women's will face off against MVPs chosen by the teams over the weekend. So it'll be Big O MVP men's versus Team USA men's, and then the same with the women's. And those coming up Sunday night. It'll be 40 minutes bouts, not the whole full 60 minutes. So it's super fun. So I got to do the men's last year. I get to do the men's this year because I'm lucky. I'd also like to give a shout out to the Pizza Research Institute, researching pizza since pizza was invented, I suppose.
Well, that's a worthy cause.
No, I'm absolutely. I meant to go on their website and see if they were hiring, because I feel
I would be a good candidate.
I'm strong on pizza science.
Yeah.
And I haven't found I haven't found my path yet, and I feel like this is a signal to me.
Yeah. Sometimes
my fate has been shown to me.
Sometimes there's a moment in your life where you have to take the hints that the world has given you.
Yeah, essentially, there's a strange woman's hand sticking out of a lake with a sword, and I have to decide, should I accept?
Are you sure it's not a big slice of pizza that you maybe should test drive and see if it's something you like?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to start crying in a minute. It's so beautiful. Also, I'm like, I really want pizza. Is it too early for pizza? It's never too early for pizza. Don't even start to answer that question.
And my stomach just rumbled.
I have a game directly after this. I just realized because I'm like, I'm going to go get that pizza. I can achieve this dream today. Not until
there's
about
a few
2.
minutes between games.
Yeah,
You can pull it
I have to
off.
run. I'll text someone. We actually have an announcer runner, so I might just text him and be like, "Walking pizza, please, heart."
That was probably the best sponsorship promo.
I hope so.
Really, we just
Nailed it. Nailed it.
the Pizza Research Institute.
It's beautiful. I did really mean to look them up yesterday because I'm like, they didn't put a tagline, and I'm like, the mystery is actually killing me.
Oh yeah, I think that's the joy of that institute is that I really want to know more.
It's like, shout out to the Cat Petting Institute of Portland. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is this?
We actually have that. You do
Do you?
realize that.
Oh, my gosh.
There is a place
I'm
where you can
moving.
go if you're having a rough day. They've got kittens that you can go hang
Every
out with.
day is a rough day where I
You could-
come from.
I'm not even joking. That's a real thing.
Is it the Cat Cafe or something?
Yes.
We do have a Cat Cafe in Seattle, but they're always so busy. Like, at this point, you have to make appointments. But I have been inside there, and I touched every single cat. Some of the cats, like, tried to hide from me. No.
We're being informed right now what the call or the official review and the decision is being handed down. Del from Hell came over here and had a discussion with us. Julia, what do we got down there?
Well, some things happened, and
some
they were,
stuff?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, also both of them. Well, it was they were contesting the second misconduct that was called was for charging, and so it was reassessed. Kenbo, no, sorry, not. Was it Kenbo that was in the box? I'm sorry. White Jammer was released from the box. Jensen put in for engaging while the skater was down.
Got it.
So
Got it.
a white skater come out. I now can't remember who's on the last jam. Jensen
right.
is in for engaging while
right.
down.
Well, Saw Sarge Rolls is out there. He is finally out of the pack. He is your lead jammer. He is also the high scorer in the game, currently sitting on 92 points for Bridgetown.
Man, Havoc having a rough time getting past these defenses. As his Sarge rolls, he gets knocked into the inside. He's going to recycle back. Jensen is now back in play. He's trying to automatically break up that back wall that New York had been holding. A little bit of a duck through. Sarge rolls, picks up 5 points.
I am Havoc, still struggling to get out of there. He's got the cap in his hand and is escorted out of bounds by number 56, Jensen. And how many times have we talked about Jensen? That guy is
Many.
everywhere.
Sometimes I talk about him when he's not even playing. It's like, you ever seen
Well, yeah, I've
how
done
Jensen's
that too,
body
actually.
does? Yeah,
Yeah.
just like single tear for Jensen. Seriously. Beautiful.
Sausage Rolls comes through.
Salazar just trying to call it, but he's not got lead, so that's not how that works. Or if it does work, it doesn't work in your favor.
I am Havoc. Got a cut track. Sausage Rolls needs to keep going. He is the unfortunate recipient of the Oreo cookie where both players hit him from both sides. He picks up 5 points and keeps going.
I don't care, Bear. Now sent to the box for a misconduct.
And he doesn't care.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys in case you do care.
Yeah.
But he's not interested.
Here comes the offense from Bridgetown. They have hit and knocked out number 5. He's way in the back. Sausage Rolls has one player left to beat. That was B. Schurz, and he glided by, picking up 5 more points. Oh, Sausage Rolls comes in. They're going to discuss the points before they tell us what it's going to be. But Sausage Rolls in that jam has breached the century mark on his own. He has 112 points. Make that, I believe, 115. Yep, they just threw another 3 fingers in the air. So right now, Bridgetown sitting 207. New York Stock Exchange 45. 9 minutes, 18 seconds left in this game. Shreddy Mercury is a jammer for Bridgetown Minutes. He runs up the outside line and does get out. Sammy Dangerfield kind of takes the same path. He's about a quarter of a lap behind Shreddy.
Woo! Shreddy's zinging in, calling it off in the middle of the pack. He's going to pick up 3 points from that one.
That was kind of like a Minutes hug. They got on both sides of those 2 blockers in the back, and as soon as Shreddy came in, they went squish.
Yep.
Give a nice little easy path for one side or the other. And really, as a blocker, you can't commit to either because you don't know which way to go. Tommy Gunn out there as a jammer. First time on the line. Once again, he was the MVP blocker last year. He is quite the utility player. He used to be a jammer for a few years, moved to blocking, and I tell you, it really suited him. Stankus out there once again. He's trying to fight through the wall, right currently at the pivot line, and still trying to struggle through.
Woo! Oh, there's some incidental blocking on accident as Tommy Gunn still getting taken out. Malcolm Six going to take a penalty on the blocking counter to play. Nothing picked up that time by Stankus. 5 points picked up by Tommy Gunn, bringing Bridgetown Minutes up to 215. New York Stock Exchange still sits at 45. Now they have surpassed by quite a bit the differential last time they faced off. So there was a 67-point difference at Champs. And then I'm not here to math, so more than 67 now. That's a challenge. You're not accepting.
It's
Fine.
170 points.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so many. God.
Topher on the line. He has just dropped a player. He's got one player left to beat. B. Schurz with a fantastic hit to the inside, and he's going to take him back and make him start again. Oh, B. Schurz tried to do it. Poblex was the last line trying to jump on that inside. When Topher glided around him, he is now your lead jammer.
Harlefu really, really having a hard time muscling his way past. The Vintage Destroyer gets spun around, takes a tumble. That's all it takes for a reset. In the meantime, Topher being recycled, meeting up with Poblex in the back. So Carlefu is through on his initial pass. Let's see how long Topher will let it ride.
Oh,
he's trying to call it from the ground.
Yeah.
But Carl does get through. 3 points for Shock. 4 points for Bridgetown Menace.
Well, he got taken out at the knee, fell down, still trying to call it off, and I just think there was.
Oh, was he calling it off when he was up too?
Well,
I just saw him do it from the ground.
His hands were coming down, and then he got taken out, and so, not really.
Fair enough.
It was awkward.
My ex-boyfriends do not use roller skates.
Shorty Mercury on the line. Sammy Dangerfield joining him. Both these jammers trying to get through these walls.
Malcolm Sex up front with Ezra Pound.
Shorty Mercury's got 2 blockers left to beat. Nice little bump by Kinbo Slice. Get Shorty Mercury out of bounds. Sammy Dangerfield trying to go through that inside line. Cosmo tries to bump him out. Lots of offense coming at this point as Shreddy Mercury has now cleared the pack as your lead jammer.
Meantime, Sammy out to the outside, short recycle back behind Juke blocks. Bill Adrian is out on the floor. Want to see some huge hits from this line in the back. Malcolm Sex, Kimbo, and Bill. Formidable. Sammy does get through on initial, does not have a chance to score points. 5 more points picked up by Shreddy Mercury.
Yeah, those 5 points were, you know what, it was Captain Obvious that jumped in there. He gave just enough room for Shreddy to launch right off the top of that apex and get through. It was basically the will of Captain Obvious and that magnificent man beard he has.
So you're saying he got a Pegasus from his beard? Is it a Cthulhu-like?
Yes. Oh my goodness, I forgot about the Pegasus.
Yeah, I'm taking us back to 2011, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
But now beards can do it.
Sausage rolls. He is up. Turn number 1 gets slightly escorted out of bounds, quickly gets back into bounds, and he's got bounced off of every player, one hand down, and he is through as your lead jammer. How is his footwork so fast?
I don't know the answer. A good sleep and a cup of coffee in the morning, perhaps?
Wow, Defensive Destroyer had a great move right there. Managed to stay in bounds by his toe stop. Did a little Jensen Matrix move, and it's different to see him do it when Jensen, just very different move right there. I Am Havoc getting bumped out of bounds on the inside line, being taken back.
Wolverine going out with Sausage as he tries to block. Jensen as well, coming in through the back. Defense is a little bit down, and that is 5 more points for Bridgetown Minutes. There has been a star pass. Shar's now donning the star for Shock Exchange, but Sausage Roll is going to call it off.
Sausage Roll is continuing to push those points up on the board. We are going to see Topher out there once again with a star on his helmet. Topher currently has 50 points in this game in 13 jams. Whistle is called. Kinbo Slice also out there with a star on his helmet. They have not moved anywhere from that jammer line. Kinbo Slice tries to test the waters on the inside, now going back to the middle, now going to the out. Topher Griffin also on that outside line. Sammy Dangerfield with a nice hit to the outside, and they're going to take him way back to the jammer line and say, you start again. Topher Griffin is back in working outside the outside line once again. He does come back to the inside. Pablex trying to get him out of bounds, ends up stepping out of bounds and getting a track cut call on him. Kinbo Slice still in there. Cosmos trying to take him out on the inside, ends up just dropping him in turn 2. He's slowly getting up. Him and Demo are going to continue to put that pressure on. And out front, finally we got a lead jammer. That is Munster.
Through, has star in hand. He's going to re-don it. Kimbo Slice has completed his initial.
Topher.
Got that call it from the bench. So loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Well, every time Topher, I think he's got that nice little tight, small tap on the hip type of thing that he's doing. And he needs to get some bigger pats when he does that call off. I just don't think that the jam ref is seeing it, and they're not calling it off very well.
So Sausage Rolls, I saw him at World Cup, I think. Am I missing? Is he Team Australia?
I believe, yes, that is where he is from.
Okay.
I believe he is. The location is now eluding me, but yes, he is from down under.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, am I missing something? Okay, so he is I'm not. My memory, for the first time, did not fail me. And also talking about not failing, Carla Fu gets lead jammer status for New York Shock Exchange. Going to pick up a couple more points before we get down to the end of this.
Carl LeFou, he was your lead jammer. He calls that jam off after picking up 5 points.
So we've got, somebody calls a timeout. We got time for another jam. Oh, but my question was, did Sausage Rolls move to Portland?
I think there is a in-process type of thing.
Awesome.
I don't have the solid answer as to yes, no, or otherwise. I do know he is skating with us.
Cool.
And so that is a thing now.
Satisfying my curiosity. I feel like I've twice now put you on point. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm
You
just
know
like,
what?
hey, is he here? Hey, is he here?
Well,
Is he here? Is he here?
There's a couple players that are skating with Portland. The charter will be updated, I believe, before Wild West Showdown, and we're going to see some interesting things happen in Portland. I'm interested to see how that roster is going to shake out and how they're going to field 14 skaters, because it's going to be pretty stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. I'm always excited for Wild West Showdown. I'm super excited that you all are coming up. So looking forward to that.
Well, we got a final score that
We
finally
do.
got put up on the board, 237-53 over the New York Shock Exchange. Bridgetown Minutes once again, I believe this is the third time in a row, beating the New York Shock Exchange. And this is looking really good for Bridgetown this year, who currently is ranked at number 3.
Loving it. So up next on this track will be Windy City against 2x4. Angel versus Lava Juniors is already underway on track 2. Crime City versus Terminal City will be starting on track 3 at noon Pacific time, so you got a half hour in case you're not good with your time zones, which I am not.
Well, folks, we also got a full schedule, full day of derby, and a little more derby.
So much derby.
And then guess what? Tomorrow you get to do it all again with some more derby, capped off by watching Team USA take on the MVPs of all this derby. So if you've ever liked derby,
I have.
Yeah. It's definitely something you want to tune in and continue to tune in and basically check it all out.
Why don't you tell us when is Portland's next game coming up and when is Shock Exchange's game coming up next?
And there you go. You're putting me on the spot one more
Oh
time.
my gosh, you have the schedule. This time you have the answers in front of you.
No, I'm playing.
Zoom.
At 2 o'clock tomorrow, Portland is taking on the St. Louis team, who is currently the world champions. New York will be taking on Vancouver at 4. So 2 o'clock tomorrow, Portland and St. Louis. 4 o'clock, New York and Vancouver. I am looking forward to both of those games. It's going to be so exciting. Well, folks at home, thank you so much for getting up and listening so bright and early with us. I am the King.
I am Julius Leeser.
And that was great to have you all here. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Afterglow pre-show. My name was just the Afterglow at this point. My name is Justice Spielgard Marshall. I'm here with Marlon Brando of the New York Shock Exchange, a good friend of mine back for 10 years. We've been doing derby together for an extremely long time. So pleasure to see you again, my friend.
You too.
Also, you worked on the movie This Is How I Roll.
Yeah.
It came out. When was that released?
It was released late 2013, 2014.
And what point of time did it cover in men's derby?
It basically covered 2007 to 2010, really at the infancy. It was something that I worked on with Kat Vecchio, who was a Gotham Girls skater at the time. And she just started being fascinated by the juxtaposition of men. You know, she went to Smith, she was very interested in gender issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to be a short, and it ended up being, following us for 4 years. And it just kind of evolved and ended up sort of telling the story of how men went from 2 teams to 4 teams to forming the Men's Derby Coalition to forming the Men's Roller Derby Association, and how it sort of grew globally in a very short amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, if you get a chance to see that, it's definitely very entertaining, so I definitely recommend it. My question for you on that is, what do you think has been the biggest change in perception in men's derby since the time the movie was released? I mean, there's been a lot going on, a lot of different stories in men's derby, but it's also at the same time, it has grown, as you said, to a point where we can have like these large tournaments that have both men's and women's games happening side by side with juniors and all that.
Yeah.
But since that movie ended, what do you think has changed the most in men's derby?
The access to it, the fact that It's being played on 5-6 continents now. And the biggest change I've seen is you have certain cities like St. Louis and Portland who have very enmeshed men's and women's teams that really feed off each other, practice together. I mean, I think the Gatekeepers and Arch Rival are a great example of teams that are completely integrated. They feel like one league, even though they are two separate things. And I think that's been the biggest change over the past 2 years. And I think that should be the way to go. And I think that's a really nice example.
And you mentioned how it's growing globally. I believe this year is the first time that MRDA championships are outside of the U.S. Is that correct?
The first time, yeah. It's going to be in Wales this year.
Right. How was the decision how did people come to that decision? Was it the local team there that make the call there, or?
Yeah, you have to put in a bid, and Wales got the best bid.
Are any teams having problems financially, potentially, if they make championships, financially reaching Wales? It's kind of a jaunt.
I've heard they're going to be.
Right.
I've heard they're going to be. I don't want to speak for other teams. I've definitely heard that that's a possibility. I mean, Shock Exchange, one of our things is we love traveling internationally, so we were actually really excited about Wales. I mean, we did a tour of England, we did a tour of Australia, and a tour of Argentina. Even just this past year was Argentina, so we like that.
Right on,
so
right on.
It's sort of been our example. Not everyone can do that. So
I hear you. What's coming up next for New York during this season? Who else do you play?
We got a game against Mass Maelstrom next month. Our B team's got a bunch of things that's coming up, and then we're going to play the Gatekeepers in August in New York.
Right on. Okay. Just one last question here. Like, one of the interesting things about New York, you've been around for 10 years?
Our first game was April 29th, 2007.
Okay.
And we basically formed like 6 weeks before that.
And I think if my stats are correct, they've only been beaten by 3 teams the entire time.
3 teams?
It was the, if I had correct, it's the currently defunct Your Mom. There's St. Louis Gatekeepers and the Bridgetown Menace, which you lost to twice.
No. Mass Maelstrom has beaten us once.
Okay, I missed that one. Apologies. Well, now I got my stat wrong, so I apologize to the Mass Maelstrom.
Shout out to Mass Maelstrom.
All right. But I do want to ask the question, though. Having gone up against Gatekeepers and Bridgetown Menace, who do you think is going to come out on top when St. Louis and Menace play here tomorrow?
I don't know. Normally you always say St. Louis is the safe answer. I have to tell you that game I just played was possibly the hardest game I've ever played in my life.
All right.
That was an amazing team.
Yeah, Bridgetown Menace looking very good against, and as I said, New York Hockey Team extremely strong for a very long time. So that scored me. Obviously a tough game, but any team that can do that to New York Hockey Exchange has got to be considered a serious threat for a championship. So Brando, thank you very much. I really appreciate the time with you. And we'll be back for more. Coming up on the track behind us is Windy City versus 2x4 Delta 4 Quattro from Argentina. And they'll be starting in about 20 minutes. Thanks for watching The Big O.